Good morning, everybody. Well, lunchtime, I should say. And you can all hear me out there okay. Why don't you give me a little thumbs up out in there and tie happy if you can hear me all right. Great, thank you. Well, welcome to Friday. We made it. Actually, quite a lot of us made it. There are now 300 of you out there making it for Friday. Shame on you. Haven't you got anything better to do than sit here at lunchtime watching me? But look, welcome. Welcome to all those folk, teachers across New Zealand, and also the ones who've just joined us from Australia, drinking their morning coffee. It's great to have you. Today's session, as I promised, is Fun Friday. We've decided to sort of take all the stops out and see how you can make this writing thing fun in the classroom and not just a chore. How you can do that too using Writer's Toolbox. Well, before we begin, let's just have a quick look at the daily challenge, because in the spirit of fun, I whipped up something special for you. Here we go. This, of course, is Writer's Toolbox, and today's daily challenge is Fun Friday. What just happened to poor old Samantha? Her day just went from great to disaster. She's having to go where? And somehow in your response, you're going to have to squeeze in the words grandma, fish, smell, and of course, Norway. And why not? Why wouldn't Norway be in there? So that's today's challenge. Let's now figure out this thing and making education fun in this classroom and with those students. I'd like to give you some thoughts, and actually I might sketch them out for you as we begin to explore this, because it might help, I think. So let's switch for a different device, and I'll just give you some thoughts. Here we go. Try again, bring the iPad up. Share, and here comes the iPad. Great. I think there's a number of things that you should take care of in the classroom when you're thinking about making something fun. And the first thing is this. When it comes to writing, it needs to be doable. And what I mean by that is there needs to be an end in sight for the child. Don't just say to the child, write about X. Say to the child, I want 6 sentences, please, on that. Or qualify the word limit. I want 23 words, please, on this. Don't just leave it out there in the ether that they might possibly do some amorphous amount of work, because that will immediately pull the fun out of it. Next is this. I think inject the spirit of competition. You will immediately pull the reluctant boys in your classroom if you make that writing task competitive. And funnily enough, the easiest way to do that is to suggest a time limit. Say, for example, you decided that today's task in the classroom was to have them write an introduction. Everybody hates writing introductions. So inject a time limit. Model it first as the teacher on your whiteboard or your blackboard so you can see it and talk. But then you turn to the class and you say this. Right, you lot. You've got 4 minutes and 37 seconds to give me your best introduction. Go. At this point in time, at least 9 people in the class, mostly sitting in the back row, will still just be sitting there. And some lucky jack will stick his hand up and say, "Oh, you're kidding, miss, aren't you?" At this point, you're the teacher. You use your emotional intelligence and you do not say anything, but you now have 4 minutes and 34 seconds. And Jack will immediately realize you're serious and go, "Oh my goodness, she's serious," and get his pen out and underway. And even if you do it in pairs, that's a great thing too, just to lessen the fear of those sprint moments. But you pull the student in the classroom who's got the competitive juices. And even though they don't like writing, they quite like winning. And they're in now anyway. And writing, which was a bit dull and amorphous and vacuous, has now become a challenge. Here's the next one. And I'm hot on this one. It's so important when it comes to writing and training the young writer. We'll talk about this today on the tool itself. You remove the burden of content. From training the skill. You remove the burden of content from training the skill. Training time is not game time. Training the young writer is a lot like coaching sport. They're not on the field of play when they're in training. And if you're trying to improve a particular skill, you don't need to have the child write about space or sustainability or tidal patterns to improve their skill at writing a particular paragraph, to teach how to write a different type of sentence. They can write about anything. And you can remove the burden of content from delivering your ability to learn and exhibit a new skill, whether it's a sentence or a paragraph. You see, take what we did the other day. You don't need to write about, for example, to learn the compare contrast paragraph, you don't need to write about 2 types of landmass or 2 types of iron. You can write which is best, custard donuts or chocolate donuts. And the student will learn the ebb and flow of the paragraph structure, unbolted from the burden of content. They don't know enough about those things. But the everyday they've got, and they can show you that they get the sense of the structure or of their delivery, whether it be a sentence or a paragraph. And this next one, I think, also speaks to the notion of, well, our kids don't have much world experience. Yeah, but I don't buy that. Yes, they do. Because here's number 4. Make the everyday fun. And in my teaching moments, I quite like this. I tend to do this a lot in the classroom when I'm out working with kids, and it doesn't matter whether those are struggling writers or in high performance sessions or in training teachers how to do both those things in a school. Myself, my writing coaches, we do this a lot. Let me give you some examples and you get the sense of what I'm talking about. Let's actually just make this everyday fun. What are some topics that kids could write about? Well, here's some. Is it better to own a bicycle or a skateboard? Could you answer that question? Yes, you could. Here's another. Number 2. Which is better, cold? Fish or chips? The students will say, "Miss, you can't be serious." But yes, you are. And what's the child going to learn in this? Well, they're going to learn some essential skills that in our research and writing performance, we even see missing by high school levels. Firstly, they begin to learn how to take a position on something. Positional skills are so weak in children as they advance through their education at the moment. This is primary teachers listening out there. You have an enormous opportunity to help these children, their writing capacity, by teaching positional strength. And this is how you do this. You ask some questions where the content is not burdensome, but you open the opportunity for the child to take a position and defend that position. They don't need to be writing about Shakespeare or sustainability. They can write about which is better, cold, fish or chips. Here's some more. Number 3. Is Fiona the best name for a cow? And you go, what on earth is he on about now? Well, actually, did you know Fiona is the most popular name for a cow in Switzerland? Is it the best name for a cow? Here's another one. Which is best for the digestion? Colon. Baked beans or prunes? Those of you who teach boys will know immediately that the possibility of answers in your classroom have just broadened considerably. Here's another one. Are kids who use Lego smarter? Of course they are, miss. No, they're not. Yes, they are, and off they go. Here's another one. I quite like this one. I think this should be today's topic. What are we on? 6.5, I think. Which would make the most mess if it blew up? The moon or the sun? Will they have an opinion? Yes, they will. And if you teach rural kids, here we go, number 7. Yeah, depending on which part of the country they come from. They probably have an opinion on this even by the time they're 5.5. Which makes the most money? Cows or sheep? And if I might get into trouble on this one, and you may never dial in again. But who are the smartest dressers? Actually, smartest is such a boring word, isn't it? Snappier is probably much better. I'll try see if I can spell snappier on the fly. Who are the snappiest? Oh gosh, here we go. Snappier dressers. Australians or New Zealanders? Do you get the idea? And you can inject some fun and some hilarity into your classroom, even in how you pose the question, because it's not the question. It's what the question is teaching. And the question is teaching the child how to take a position, how to justify that position, how in the justifying of position to remain on topic, to be focused, to be clear, to use good information to support or ideas to support it. And the topic itself is a bit of fun. And unburdened from content, they can begin to learn some writing skills and improve them. So let's jump into Writer's Toolbox now. And I'll show you how you can do some of this online. Let's go. I've logged into my teacher account. And for those of you who are tuned in yesterday, you would have seen me quite cross at the neighbour John over his absolute disregard for neighbourhood internet speed and voluminous consumption of Netflix. And I thought John was the reason why my task disappeared, but of course it didn't. The person hosting the webinar, of course, logged into a different school as a teacher, didn't he? So when I set that beautiful task yesterday for Boris and his class, I did so completely blinded to the fact that I was logged in a different school. No wonder poor old Boris didn't get it. But here we go. Today, let's make a task. And I'll show you how we can inject some fun into this classroom. So I come through the tasks, and look, I think the first place for a bit of levity in this classroom is the title. Why would you have a boring title? Teaching should be fun. You signed up to do this because you actually like teaching and you like being with students and you like seeing the sparkle go off in their eyes. So why would you write a daft title? Here we go. Yeah, title. Are you up for this? That's the title of my task. Here we go. Task instructions. Right. Now, I'm going to use some imagery to do this for a bit of fun. And we'll develop the instructions as we go because that's part of the fun of it. But here we go. Your challenge. These aren't assignments and tasks, they're challenges in writing. Your challenge is to write the best 6 sentences. Now, I've picked 6 on purpose. And those in Australia tuned in, please excuse my pronunciation deficiencies, but it's that wonderful number between 5 and 7. But your best 6 sentences about this topic. Why do I pick 6? Because 6 is 2 things to the child when they write. It actually doesn't matter so much about the age. That lovely boundary of 5 to 6 sentences is sufficient to reveal the depth of an idea. Plus, it's sufficient that it does not feel onerous for the child who struggles. 6 is not too far away from 1. And that's the beauty of it. Plus, as I just said, you can unravel quite a fun piece across 6 sentences. So here we go. I want your best, not just your ordinary, but your best. See, I'm just dribbling in the spirit of competition as I write. Best 6 sentences based on the following images on these images. Plus, you must use all 3 of the keywords. No, just use them all. But I won't put a lot of keywords in. Just all of the keywords provided. Go for it. It's going to be the year level. Yes, it's going out to my year 7 class. Word limit, I'm not going to put 1 because it's 6 sentences. That's fine. And the due date, well, it's just going to be for next Friday. Here we go. Sequence. Again, we're going to leap straight in. I'll show you more detail next week how to use some of these cool planning and creativity tools, but we don't want a mind map. We don't want a box plan. And I just want the writing tool, and I'm going to use Storyboard Writer. It is one of my favorite tools. It's very versatile, and I love the way that I can sort of throw some imagery here. I'm great for imagery when I write, even when I write books and things. It's great to have some imagery around you to spark the brain, and so I love it. Now I'm going to pick the tools. Checklist. Yes, let's put a checklist, and let's call it, because this piece could be one of your weekly writing challenges. As you're attempting to zhoosh up writing, which I have on good authority that I spelled correctly, as you're zhooshing it up, make this one of the weekly challenges. You know, the weekly hilarity, whatever you want to call it. Don't forget. New item. Here we go. Read these carefully. Here's the item. Use all the keywords provided. Good. And your fourth sentence must be an adverb. Start sentence. Now, there's a reason I've done that, and let me explain why. When you're offering up for a child that one of the sentences they might write for a task has to be a particular type, it's helpful when you create an activity that type of sentence is not the first. It's more helpful that it's slightly further into the task. The reason for this is simple. It allows in the child's mind them time to create where the story might go, leading up to the double challenge of combining both content and a sentence style. If that's toward the latter part of the piece, it adds to the fun because it's adding to the tension of the piece as well. And the delicious bit in the classroom is when those children also read these pieces out loud, everybody will be ears on wondering how they're going to manage that particular sentence when it comes to this piece in the work. So, because if I do this, you'll see why. And your fourth sentence must be an adverb sentence. And it must contain the word banana. Can you see what's going to happen? The moment you do that in the classroom, everybody's going to be wondering how you managed that fourth sentence and got the word banana in there somewhere. We'll be listening. Keywords. Right, let's add some keywords. You can do this. Well, we better put banana because that's going to be one of the words that everybody does. Banana. I think green would be helpful. Keywords, it's useful when you build a keyword list that's got a bit of fun in it. Again, you don't make every keyword wacky and absurd. It's useful to have just one or two, and some things just help the writer along. So, you know, we could just do that, and it wouldn't hurt. Somebody's going to have it in their sentence somewhere, and here's another one. That's useful. And you may even just go, look, I've just got some words we're doing this week for vocab development. So we'll put a vocab word in. And maybe this week it's a lemon. No, that's two pieces of fruit. Maybe this week it's quickly. And that's the keyword. That's fine. Sentence styles, I'm okay with those. Paragraph styles, that's fine too. Imagery. And I said 4 images. Okay. Again, if I want to build a task that's a bit of fun for students, I've got this great little gallery here, and I can pick some images because I want something that's going to quickly bring a child into a setting. That's really useful, that quickly they can grasp the setting then for where to have their story. And I've got a fairground setting there, so that's quite useful. My fairground, I grabbed that from the gallery. And I might also then pick another image that is just sort of calm and not too disturbing, that would just flow with what's happening. And I might go Give me a character. Well, there's a grandma and a child. No, I think something else here. Give me two people together. That would be helpful. There's two people. Oh, that's fun. So Dad's there with the kids. We've got a fairground. Well, that's great. And then I want a wee bit of the absurd. So I have grabbed here off to the side something that might just help us. That's a wee bit absurd. And so is that. How are those things actually going to work in this piece? Trust me, your students will soon figure it out. I'm going to preview the task. That's what I get, and I'm pretty happy with that. Your challenge is to write the best 6 sentences based on these images. Plus, you must use all the keywords provided. Go for it. Your challenge is to write the best 6-sentence story based on these images. Don't fluff it up. Plus, look at the checklist, because we built a good checklist, didn't we? Look at the checklist. And I've added some handy keywords for you to use. Now, I'll tell you why I've done that. Because as I got excited about this task, go for it. You could see I had done 2 things. Well, let's just jump now to preview task and then send and share and demonstrate and view. Because you can see now what the student's going to see. And I want to explain to you my rationale behind why I pull back from being too clever in the instructions. Your challenge is to write the best 6-sentence story based on these images. And there they are. You can go big on Writer's Toolbox, which really helps the imagination in the child. There's the spaceships. They're a lot of fun. And then here's the, oh, they're just so adorable. Here's the fluffy dogs reading who knows what. But I quite liked what I put in the checklist, and the tricky bit in the end, I put in the checklist, not in the keywords. And so I moved the emphasis of the task away from being clever in the keywords to the tricky bit occurring in the checklist. And that's where I want to pull the child's competitive spirit, plus all the sense of fun in here, because as I said, somehow now in the story that I'm about to craft, the 4th sentence must include the word banana and be an adverbial start. Now let's just zhoosh it up one final little bit. And let's go back to my task. Then drafts. And are you up for this? I'm going to edit it one final time before I send it out to my class. Look at the checklist. I've added some handy keywords for use. And you must all spin the sentence spinner to begin. Whatever you spin, that's your first sentence. Go for it. All right. And now you're saying, is Hunter up for this? Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Let's just go demonstrate and view this task one more final time, and I'll try. I've said that I must spin the sentence spinner. Here it is over here. I love it. It's a great toy. But as I begin to write this piece, I don't know how we're going to go, but here we go. Here we go. Spin. And I got the explore the subject sentence. I click on that, and up comes the explore the subject sentence. I can see examples of that subject sentence, explore the subject sentence there next to me. I can even watch a video of it, but here we go. Johnny, who usually liked to go to events by himself, today went to the fairground with his dad and his unusually rowdy sister, Isabel. Banana and green, here we go. Unlike most boys, Johnny liked to keep a banana. And did you see what just happened? On the keyword side of the screen, the keywords that I've used, the Writer's Toolbox has registered that I've actually done them, and they've gone bright orange. That's great. The style can see I'm using the keywords. I like to keep a banana in his pocket. He learned early that if the banana was green, it would last the entire day. My fourth sentence has to be an adverb start and must also contain the word banana. Unfortunately, you can see where this is going already, can't you? Fortunately, now I'm going to help with the spelling here, which I can get on the tool. Unfortunately, this was not Johnny's day. At exactly 3 o'clock, when the space ride, see, you're wondering how I was going to get that in, didn't you? There it is. Was at last available for patrons, something unbelievable. Never spell unbelievable. One of those tricky words, isn't it? I before E or E-R-I. You never learn that. 50 years in your life, you still struggle with that silly rule. Something unbelievable happened. And oh my goodness, look at the time. It's 12:30 already. Yeah, you're going to have to wait until tomorrow. Oh, that'll be Monday, to find out that unbelievable thing that happened. So I hope that's been useful. Don't forget the rules. Make it fun in the classroom. Keep it light. Add in one element of something that might be a real challenge or a twist. And remember, you can separate training skill from content delivery. And you can have a lot of fun training kids in sentences and paragraphs. Till next time.